The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
And welcome back. And the K-Files is here. Good morning, JP.
Good morning, Sandra.
Glad to have you on again.
Thanks for having me.
Always glad to have you on. We want to thank you as a sponsor of the show, of course, Barnes Safety and Consulting, and also Statewide Insurers Group. So you've got a class coming up, November 13th.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
How many do you have in the class usually, an average?
Typically, we have anywhere from 20 to 60 people this time of year for class.
Why this time of year?
People tend to keep a check on the news, and they see where crime is usually on an uptick, and they kind of have it in the back of their mind about shopping, safety, things like that.
Right. I mean, things prompt us to do things.
Yes.
We see things, we hear things that prompt us to do things, and especially when things happen, we tend to go ahead and do what we've been putting off.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so, you know, it's never too late.
Several months ago, when you started seeing these riots across the country, I was having upwards of 120 people in a class.
Right.
It scared people.
There you go.
And it drove my classes to an all-time high.
Yeah, events that happen the same way.
It's driven by the media.
Yeah, really. Well, I encourage you, and I always say this, if you do not have your concealed carry, I certainly do encourage you to get it, because it is, you know, so many people say, I want to exercise my First Amendment. Well, what about I want to be safe in my home, I want to be safe in my car, I want to be safe wherever I go. And, you know, I asked my daughter the other day, I said, she was going somewhere, and it was night and dark, and I said, do you have your gun? Yes, I do. I sure do. She was emphatic about it. Yes, I've got it.
It's not going to do you any good if you don't have it.
Where's
People
your gun?
tell
At
me
home?
all the time, I'm a concealed carry man. I carry concealed. You got it with you? Well, no. What good are you doing?
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say,
home?
too, while I'm thinking about it, is not that I want to plug my business, but due diligence before you take someone's class.
Yes.
Anybody can be a concealed carry firearms instructor. I would argue, please find someone with credentials. I would recommend a law enforcement background.
Absolutely.
Sheriff Stone teaches it. I teach it. I believe one of the police chiefs in Nashville. I believe he teaches it. Find someone with a law enforcement background and take their class.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. And I've always said that, you know, it's always better to take it from a law enforcement officer, or past officer or whatever.
Right.
Somebody that's been in law enforcement, it's always better to do that. And where is your class located? Where will it be located on November 13th?
On November 13th, it will be at the Bailey Masonic Lodge, located on Main Street in Bailey. And keep in mind, too, we will come to you and do a private class. We
Churches?
typically do, churches, fire departments, places of employment will come to you and put on a private class for your group.
How many do you have to have?
We typically like to have 5 or more.
Right, 5 or more.
But we'll go anywhere in the state of North Carolina and get you the training that you need.
Well, it's really not a group if it's not at least 5, right?
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, I've had a doctor from Wilson say, look, it's me and my wife, how much?
Oh.
Well, I charge for 5, so you know, it's $500.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's fine.
All right,
so I
come
have
on.
put on private classes for as few as 2 people.
Wow.
But,
well,
you know, that's what he wanted.
Well, if your church or your civic organization or anybody, any group that you're in, you know, your Rotary, your Kiwanis, any of that, you know, JP will come and certainly give you, and if you want, do you do talks?
We do. I do free safety presentations to churches. And the reason I do that is to encourage churches to have safety teams in place.
Oh, yeah.
That is something that's just close to me. All churches should consider having safety teams in place. You never know what tomorrow's going to bring. Look at what's going on in the country the past 5 years at churches.
Every time you turn around, there's been a church shooting.
Yeah.
So
that's something we do for free. And also, if a church has a member or 2 that they want to send to my class, I actually will train them for free. For free, won't charge them a dime.
Right.
Because, again, it's near and dear to my heart.
Well, I think that's great, and I do encourage anybody. And now, I've asked you this before, but can people, some people want to, and I hear this all the time, some people just want to shoot.
Yeah. I have a lot of people who have taken my course in the past or taken someone else's course, and they just reach out and say, look, I got my concealed carry 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago. Can I come to your class and just maybe sit through the classroom portion, not take a test, and then go to the range and maybe shoot? Do you mind? Absolutely not.
Right.
Would love to have you.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's that easy. So the phone number is?
They can call or text me at 919-369-0311.
Okay, that's easy enough. That is easy enough, folks. Okay, going to talk about Team Cold Case a little bit and the K-Files this morning. And I cannot say enough. Every week, I'm so glad to hear from you out there. Because I was at Harris Teeter last weekend, a lady come up to me and she said, I love that K-Files. I love that. You know, I was telling you about another lady last week we talked about on the show. Well, this lady was just emphatic that she loved the K-Files. So I think that, you know, we are doing good. I feel really good about the show, and I appreciate all of y'all. Stop me if you see me somewhere. If you see JP, stop JP and let us know how you know, let us know that you're watching. It's important.
That happened to me this morning at JD's Grocery.
Oh, really?
Yes, it did. So people are talking about the show.
Well, that is great. Good, good. We want the buzz. We need the buzz. Okay, what I decided for this week was one of the things I wanted to talk about was the Tammy Pierce. Now, we've talked about, let's don't get them mixed up, there's Tammy Grady leaving the Heart of Wilson Hotel. If you know anything about that one, you know you got to call. But Tammy Pierce, to me, we haven't placed enough emphasis on that. It was a quadruple murder, which thank goodness, we don't hear about those a whole lot. But this is a quadruple murder, and it's Tammy Pierce, Selby Outland, Paul Pierce, and Nicole Privet. All four in the house on 12/24/16, and as JP said a while ago, Christmas Eve. Here's another Christmas Eve one, like Travis Lynch. Travis Lynch was Christmas Eve. Things tend to happen on holidays like that. It's really wild.
It is.
How things...
I can't help but wonder what drives that.
I know. I don't know. Are people drinking more at that time of year? I don't know. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so what I thought I would do to detail it a little bit more, we have talked about it a little bit, but Lyndall John Kay had some details about this. And so did Fighting Crime. So I want to go back and play the part of the K-Files where Lyndall was here and Lyndall was detailing what happened a little bit more than what we have in the book. So anyway, Brittany, if you could show us that, I'd appreciate it.
We said when we started this a year ago that if family asked us to help them, we would help them, right? So we got a request from family in Wilson to talk about the quadruple homicide that happened on Christmas Eve.
Have we talked about that at all here?
We have not. Kat has posted it a lot on Fighting Crime. I've actually written news stories about it, and I've put it on the Facebook page, but we've never
I didn't
talked
think
about it
I
on the
remembered
air.
that
No.
one.
It made international news. Here's an AP story from England when this murder happened on Christmas Eve 2016, right? So it was on the 2200 block of Banks Lane East, which is just outside of Wilson.
Right.
So the front door was kicked in. There were 4 victims. They were all either wearing pajamas or in their bedclothes, according to the autopsies, and they were all shot multiple times. The girl that we're going to talk about, she was in her 20s. She was shot 9 times, right? So it was a mother and her son, and then their 2 significant others that were shot dead, right? So we're talking about Tammy Pierce, her boyfriend Selby Outland, Tammy's son Shane Pierce, and then his fiancee Nikki Privet. They were all shot to death that night multiple times. Like I said, she was shot 9 times. The family that contacted us, one of them moved out of the area because they're just scared to death, and they've asked not to be identified. They don't want anybody to know who they are.
Yeah, if you shoot somebody
I spoke to the I spoke to the grandmother a lot. She's the one that reached out to us, Lois Pierce. I'm going to have more and more information from her as the weeks go by, right? But I wanted to start, since we haven't talked about this on the show before, I wanted to start with what I already knew.
Right.
And move forward from there. So I'm going to talk about each of the 4 victims, right? Because a lot of times people just see someone as a victim and they don't, someone who knows something, sometimes the best way to get that person to talk is by explaining to them that these are not just numbers, these are people.
Right.
So first up is Tammy Pierce. She was 54 years old, right? There she is with her boyfriend. Tammy was these quotes are coming straight from the family, right?
Okay.
Tammy was a mother, a daughter, a sister. She was a grandmother. She loved animals more than life itself. She would rescue dogs. My wife is the exact same way. I know exactly how that is. She would rescue dogs that needed help. She was diagnosed with cancer, but she beat it. She was 100% cancer-free, and then not long after that, she was murdered in her bed. Right? So she was cheerful and joyful, and someone took it all away, is a quote from the family. Right? All right. Up next is Selby, which is her boyfriend. There's pictures. You see all these pictures there together, right? I mean,
Right.
Selby was a father, a lover, a brother, a son. He loved Tammy. Even when she lost all her hair because of cancer, he stuck with her, right? He was a hard worker. He built Tammy's mother a birdhouse that is still in her yard today. He was very helpful around the house. He knew a lot about home improvement, and he was shot to death that night as well in the bed. Okay, here's Tammy's son, Shane. He was a brother, a son, a grandson. He was always helping around the house. He was always helping his grandparents. Right? He was a good painter. He could fix your house, your car, anything that you needed. He loved animals just like his mom did. He had a blue female pit bull named Xenia. That he treated that dog like his child. Right? All right, and then finally, Nikki is 23. He's proposing to her. That's when he proposed to her. They were engaged to be married. She was a daughter and a sister. She was very quiet and respectful. She was a loving person, and the family, this is not her family, but his family said that she was a sweet person, and that it was obvious how much that she loved Shane. Right? Okay. So the four of them are at home Christmas Eve, late Christmas Eve. They're sleeping in the bed. Someone kicks in the door, shoots all four of them.
Okay, this grandmother, does she have any notions of who she thinks?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to shoot that girl 9 times, there had to be some relationship.
There was.
Something.
The sheriff's office, who I spoke to this week, they have a good notion who did it. They arrested somebody for it, and then that person was later released, and the charges were dropped because they said they lacked evidence. The DA's office. So that was Derek Eugene Harris. He was 29 at the time. He was arrested by the Wilson County Sheriff's Office, and the charges were dropped against him. Now, the reason that the charges were dropped is the DA's office say that witnesses changed statements, avoided subpoenas, and dodged court appearances.
There you go.
Right? So that's the reason the cases were dropped.
Yep.
All right, but Harris can be arrested again if more evidence is uncovered.
Sure.
I'm not saying he did it. I'm just saying that, he can be arrested
If more evidence
again.
comes up, he can be.
The governor's office is offering up to $20,000 in this case. Right? You take that $20,000, you add her up to 15, that's up to $35,000.
Wow.
In this case, which, you got 4 victims, right? So
That's right.
anybody with any information about this case, call the Wilson County Sheriff's Office at 252-237-2118, or of course the hotline number is up there.
Right.
We will be right back.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, and welcome back. We're talking about the Tammy Pierce case, quadruple homicide. There was Tammy Pierce, her son, her son's fiance, and then her brother. in the house and just shot multiple times, but she was shot 9 times. What does that sound like to you?
It's meant to convey a message.
It was loud and
personal,
clear.
Rage. I would love to see this report. I would love to know, with it being on Christmas Eve, was items taken from the home? There were
Right.
gifts, around the Christmas tree. There were some probably high-end gifts in the home. Was anything taken? You put that with the fact that she was shot 9 times, I guarantee you probably nothing was reported missing from the home, and this was personal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like to me somebody might have owed somebody money or something. That's total speculation now on my part.
Yeah.
So I do want to put that out there, but that's just terrible. And you heard that one of the family members just left the area because they were scared for their life. So did that mean that family member knew who it was?
A lot of times, family members do keep up with your business.
Right.
They do know how you live your life.
Right.
And I would say in this case, they are aware of potential suspect information. They saw the crime that took place, and it scared them to the point that they want to relocate.
Right.
And you can't blame them.
No, absolutely not. So they made an arrest in the case, but they had to let him go. And you can't blame, we do blame the DA a lot, but, when we hear that somebody has gotten off, we say, oh yeah. Well, you can't blame the DA in this case because no witnesses, the witnesses just wouldn't testify. I forgot what else they said, other things that, they just didn't have any, the evidence was not there because nobody wanted to talk. They were scared. Now, this must have been either an awful, well, we know he was an awful guy if he shot up, 4 people, but people were really scared of this guy.
I'd love to see his rap sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, to have people evade law enforcement to keep you from serving process on them, to appear, to talk to the DA.
Yeah.
For them to take steps like that to evade, they don't want to get involved is what they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to get involved with this bad guy.
Absolutely.
So clearly, the people in the know are terrified of this suspect.
Right. Well, the Wilson County Sheriff's Department is handling this case. So if you know anything about this, it is anonymous. You don't have to be afraid because it is anonymous. Nobody will know who you are except the law enforcement officer that you're talking to. So please call either the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. You can certainly do that direct, or you can call our hotline 406-6736. 406-6736.
And you can get paid up to $35,000.
Yeah, because tell them the governor has...
The governor has a reward of, I believe, up to $20,000.
That's right.
And y'all will pay up to $15,000. That's $35,000.
That's a lot of money, folks. It's a lot of money. And so if you know anything, I would suggest that you come forward with it. This is awful. It's
This
just
is terrible.
awful.
This guy needs, whoever this guy is, whoever the suspect is, justice needs to be brought to the forefront
really?
in this case. This is brutal, this is violent, and this is right here in our community.
Would he do it again?
Yes.
Yes. He sure would.
And he's going to embolden other people who want to act just like him.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to be off the streets. So if you know anything, please help with that because he does need to be before this happens again to somebody else. It's pretty brave to go in somebody's house while they are sleeping. And I think she was found in the bathroom, shot 9 times in the bathroom. So I don't know, I think the rest of the house was sleeping and she was in the bathroom. I don't know. But anyway.
Terrible.
Terrible case nonetheless. So we hope that you will, if you know anything, that you will come forward. Let's talk a little bit about, I'm wondering if we should go to break again though. This is one that we haven't talked about that much on page. All of these can be found, y'all, in our book. The Team Cold Case book that you might want to pick up. We did this book because, and people are really saying that they like reading it, the cases are interesting. So page 18, this is one we haven't talked about a whole lot. So I'd like to just bring this one up in case it would bring somebody's attention. This case would come to somebody's attention. Emmanuel Robert Gent, G-E-N-T. This happened May 21st, 2012. Emmanuel, 26, was killed outside of a friend's home at 1414 Branch Street in Rocky Mount. I remember this case. I remember it. I remember us going over and filming. I remember the tape all around it. I remember this case vividly. 1414 Branch Street in Rocky Mount around 10 p.m. EMS arrived and pronounced Gent dead on the scene. The friend advised that two men, one wearing a red bandana over his face, a white t-shirt and black pants, and another male wearing all black, approached them in an attempted robbery. They were both seen leaving the area on foot. Gent only had $1.32 on him. Golly, now is that not?
Well, see, just based on these facts alone, red bandana, my mind automatically goes to gang activity.
Right, exactly.
Not to robbery.
Yeah. But it did say the house, well, the person was robbed, correct?
Of $1.32.
Of $1, yeah. I mean, you know, you laugh, but it's not funny.
No, it's
because
not.
somebody's dead.
Mm-hmm.
But dead because of $1.32. I mean, was that the motive?
Or did they take it so it would appear
right?
as though
see,
it was? Mm-hmm.
Was that the motive? Because, I mean, I don't know.
10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So you don't know the motive here. The motive is not clear here. But anyway, if anybody knows anything, we haven't talked about this case at all, except Lyndall did talk about it a little bit when we first started the show. I remember that. But we'll bring it up again. It's important that we keep bringing these cases up because different people watch the show at different times, and more people are watching now than they were at the beginning. So that's why it's so important that we bring these cases back up. But Emmanuel Robert Gent of 1414 Branch Street. If you saw anything in the area on 5/21/2012, if you remember anything, if you know anything, please come forward. It's important. We have to give families closure. Mm-hmm. We just have to do that. And that's one of our main goals. We say that all the time. So anyway, we're going to take our next break. We're going to get some weather and come back with another case right after this.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, welcome back. So we were talking about, the case with Emmanuel Robert Gent on 1414 Branch Street. If you know anything, if you see something, say something. So 406-6736 with that case. Let's talk about another case on the same page that we have not talked about a lot at all. Faith Renee Hedgepeth. Also a 2012 case. Faith Hedgepeth, who was from Warren County, was found in her apartment Hawthorne on the View is the name of the apartment complex. Hawthorne on the View, located at 5639 Old Chapel Hill Road in Chapel Hill by a friend on the morning of September 7, 2012. She had been beaten over the head with a blunt instrument. Evidence of semen and male DNA was present in the crime scene. The last time she was known to be alive was earlier that morning when she went to bed after returning from a local nightclub with her roommate. A Virginia DNA testing company prepared and released an image showing what the suspect might look like based on his genetic phenotype. Among the evidence collected was a note left near Hedgepeth's body with the text, "I'm not stupid." I can't call that name on TV. Jealous. It was, and that does take it out of context when you can't say the word, but anyway, it was sloppily written in ballpoint pen on what was determined to be the torn off bottom of a white paper bag. So,
if I'm not badly mistaken, I believe they just made an arrest in this case.
Really? Really? Well, I want to check on that, and we can report that.
I'm going to Google it right now. For some reason, I'm thinking they just made
that
an
would
arrest.
Well,
in
that
this
would be
case.
great if they did, and we could definitely, we want to report that if they did. But yes, so again, she was found in her apartment, which was at Hawthorne on the View, is the complex, located at 5639 Old Chapel Hill Road in Chapel Hill, found by a friend on September 7, 2012, badly beaten over the head with a blunt instrument, apparently raped from what it says. DNA was present at the crime scene.
An arrest was made September 17th. Arrest made in Faith Hedgepeth homicide investigation 9 years later, September 17th of this year.
Oh, so they just made an arrest. Well, how did you know that?
Enrique Salegro Olivares was arrested. I caught a glimpse of this on TV that night.
You did?
And this just triggered a thought.
That is great. Well, you know what? We can mark that one down as solved. And you know what? I'm always glad to hear that. I'm always glad to hear that one has been solved. I think that is great. So, thank goodness that one.
9 years. This just goes to show you
9 years
these
later.
cases can be solved.
Yeah, people
can be brought to justice.
That's
Charges
right.
can be made. It's never too late.
And people say to me, what are the chances, of them catching somebody from 2010?
You just have to thread that needle at the right moment.
Yeah, yes. And I will say that Lieutenant Seifman with Rocky Mount, I asked him, because some of y'all are asking me about baby Nash. He did not talk about last time, but I think he's going to be prepared to talk about it this coming up time. What happens with those cases is they have finally, the DNA, the lab has not released the DNA evidence, the DNA findings, the findings. And so that's what they're waiting on. They think DNA is what's going to solve that case. And so he said he'd be prepared to talk about it the next time. So, but they don't have anything, yet, because the DNA evidence, well, the lab hasn't released, hasn't released it.
So many people across the country are sending in these DNA kits to Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it. I have people in my family doing it. And stop and think, if law enforcement has access to that database, they may not can pinpoint you to a crime.
Right.
But they can say, whoa, somebody in this family is the suspect that we've been looking for 20 years. And then they start putting the puzzle together.
That's right.
And it's brought a lot of people to justice. It's closed a lot of cases nationwide over the past 5-10 years. And they're getting better at it.
Well, I'm hoping. And there's so much, there's been so much progress made with DNA that we're hoping, as you just said, more cases will be solved. So, faster. So the faster we get people off the street that have done these things. If you've committed murder one time, chances are you could do it again.
Yeah.
Because you've done it one time. Okay, I got by.
Yep.
You know how it is when somebody gets by with
anything.
Yeah.
The best
it doesn't have to be a murder.
The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
That's
I don't
exactly
care
right.
what it is.
Yep.
It is. It's deadly accurate.
Yep. And they get by with it, and they get more careless as time goes on. And the third time you do it, hey, third time's a charm, you got caught. So that's sometimes how it works. So anyway, forgive me, they can't listen to me with the loan company. They keep on weed eating during my morning show. So
it sounds like he's right at the window.
I was at home one morning watching, and I could just hear the noise in the background. I called Brittany and I said, Brittany, please go out there and tell him. I told him for the 10th time, please don't weed eat during my show. But anyway, that's okay. Let's talk about James Earl Harper. Now this case, and this is on page 23, James Earl Harper is a little bit more recent, 2017, September 6th of 2017, around 2:15 a.m., Rocky Mount PD was called after a passerby saw a man lying on the ground near a mailbox on the 500 block of Arrington Street in Rocky Mount. Upon arrival, Rocky Mount PD found James Earl Harper, 65, laying near the mailbox and suffering from gunshot wounds. Mr. Harper had died of his injuries. Mr. Harper was walking to a 24-hour store near his home on Boone Street. His wallet was missing and he had no money on him. There were 2 different caliber shell casings found indicating more than one suspect. And so, see, there you go, that's robbery.
That is.
That's clearly robbery.
Yes, it is.
The poor man was trying to walk to the store to get him whatever he needed and just rob right there. Of course,
wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, and he's out kind of late, walking kind of late, but that won't so late. Well, yeah, 2:15. Yeah, I was thinking 10. 2:15, do you really do that? Do you really want to walk up down the street at 2:15 at night?
My mom and grandma always said after 11 o'clock, the only place you need to be is at home.
Exactly. Exactly. And I still feel that way right now. I'm plenty grown. 2:15 a.m. he was walking to the store and found right down, he didn't even hardly get out of his house because he was found by the mailbox. So 500 block, that's Arrington Avenue is close to Boone Street. So if anybody knows anything about this, if you saw anything, if you were driving by, but you know, the chances that there were a lot of cars driving by at 2 a.m. in the morning are not great. So it could be that this case is kind of hard. The reason it's not solved is because there's no witnesses. But if you do or did witness anything,
But
make
you know,
sure
his
you
wallet
come
is
forward.
somewhere. His
That's
license
right.
is somewhere.
Yes.
It could be in somebody's house. It could be in somebody's drawer. It could be somewhere. You could have spotted this man's wallet in
Yes.
somebody's house that it didn't have any business.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, yes, the
Crimes in
wallet
Rocky
is the
Mount
key.
have been solved just like that.
That's right. That wallet is the key. It really is. If somebody could find the wallet, and he had no money on him, so, yeah, didn't have any money on him, so they took all of his money. He was 65 years old. Wallet missing, had no money on him. There were 2 different caliber shell casings found indicating more than one suspect. So, you know, probably a couple of guys
Looking somebody to rob.
looking somebody to rob. That's exactly what it looks like. So, anyway, and then we'll mention and next week will be the Nash County Sheriff's Department. It'll be their turn to be on. I don't know whether it will be Lieutenant Jeff Sherrod or whether it will be Brandon Medina, but it will be one of the 2 of them. That's who normally comes. So anyway, we look forward to hearing about some of their cases. They may talk about Randy Colgrove. They talk about him a lot. He was on Highway 58 near Sandy Cross, near Vibrant Road. I don't even know where Vibrant Road is.
I
Do
can't
you?
place it.
I don't really know. Outside of Nashville, close to Sandy Cross. Barber that everybody knew,
Great
well
guy.
known. And, you know, everybody,
Great guy.
somebody knows something about this.
When I was stationed in Wilson, he cut my hair.
Uh,
Great guy, great personality.
well,
The type of guy that you couldn't imagine had any enemies.
and I'm sure he didn't. But I can't imagine what the motive would be. His house was kind of off the road.
I'm thinking robbery. If I had to just,
I
if I had
guess.
to bet,
I guess it would be robbery.
just a home invasion.
And you know, that's so scary. That's
It
why
is.
people need to take your class. Because there's nothing scarier than a home invasion. Oh my gosh.
And look,
just
I
can't.
have a plan with my family. We have discussed it. You know, what would you do if at 11 o'clock at night
Yes.
everybody's in a separate bedroom and the front door or back door gets kicked in?
Right.
What do you do? We have a plan for it.
Right. And you need to.
You do.
You need to discuss this
Yes, you
with the
do.
family. With everybody living in your home, you need to discuss it. And you need to make sure you've got a gun right there, readily accessible.
And look, we have safe words that if I'm talking to my kids on the phone and I say a word,
Yes.
something is wrong.
You're like a dog.
Yes.
Say that word and he's on you.
That's right, and it works. I mean, we've had to use it. Everybody needs a plan. You need to plan for things that you know, the unexpected. It can happen. Bad
Yes.
things happen,
Yes.
and you need to have a plan for it. Not
That's
just
exactly
not just
right.
carrying a concealed weapon. I mean, there are mean and evil forces in the world.
Well, we're going to be talking about, we're in the holiday season now. So we're going to be talking about, and we need to have a guest too, to talk about some of the, and JP has already talked about some of the things to do. You're going to be out there shopping.
That's right.
And I'm not going to encourage you to shop online and stay at home and not go out there with the bad guys. We need to shop local, but we need to shop safe.
That's right.
So we're going to have to we'll go over some things that, you know, you might not think about. It's like when a storm comes. We'll sit up here and we have Brent Fisher come on a lot from EMS, and he'll he'll say, make sure you run water in your bathtub, make sure you do this. And I always have somebody say, because you know all these things, you've heard it 1,000 times, and these are things that you do, but I always have somebody say, you know, I didn't think about that. There's one thing you never think about. So with Christmas shopping and everybody being out and about, there's going to be something that you don't think about that we are going to talk about. So, you know, we talk about make sure you walk out with someone, not by yourself.
Shop with a group.
Please don't go at dark.
Yep. Park near aerial lighting. Should it be dark when you get ready to leave?
Yes, yes. All kinds of things like that.
There's lots of little things.
So, you know, we do want to, we'll start doing some of that on the show too, because this show is to offer a service. It is to offer a service. So we feel like we need to do that so that you don't end up in this book.
That's exactly right.
We don't want you to be a statistic in this book. So anyway, we'll be doing that coming up. And, you know, we were just talking about dogs. I think one of the most popular shows I had, people talked about it for weeks, was I had, who was it that came in and brought the dog, one of their dogs, and the drug dogs.
Okay.
And that goes along with the murders and things, you know, because Keystone, you know, uses drug dogs like crazy. And I guess it was Nash County that came on and brought one of the dogs in here, and it was just, and we were joking, and he said, don't say, there's a word, I hope you don't say it. He was teasing me. I hope you don't say this particular word when we're talking. It got me all scared because that dog could have ate me up. But anyway, you know, the dogs play a major role in you know, solving crimes.
They do. They're an asset.
They really are. I'm telling you, and they're treated as such.
Yes, they are.
Boy, they have a funeral.
They are law enforcement officers.
Yeah, they are.
They are. And
So,
if somebody
yeah.
hurts one, they are assaulting a law enforcement officer.
Yes. So let's have maybe Nash County Sheriff's Office or somebody bring the dog again, and it's been probably 3 years, so it's time, and talk about how dogs help solve crimes. I think that goes along with what we're doing on the show too. Thinking a little bit out of the box, because there's a lot we can do on this show. So since you like the show so much, thank you very much, the ones that stopped me. But anyway, I think that would be good to have one of the you know, one of the dogs and talk about the role they play. So anyway, and how close the officers get to these dogs. I mean, that's their you know,
partner.
Yes, sirree. And I think when they retire them, don't they give them
a lot of agencies give that officer the opportunity to take possession or ownership of that dog.
Because, I mean, the dog is just like the owner. The dog is separation anxiety going on here. He don't want to be separated from his master, you know. So we'll do that. So, okay, well, it's time to go. Thank you for watching today. JP, thank you for being with me. I know y'all are enjoying JP being on. I'm hearing that. So, anyway, we hadn't kicked him to the curb yet. So, I can't kick JP to the curb. He brings me a cheese biscuit. No. JP has a lot of law enforcement background, and so I feel like he, you know, fits right in with what we're trying to do here. And you really have some good input on the cases that we talk about. So anyway, make it a great day, everybody.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.